Clear skies tonight, still breezy with lows in the mid-teens. Clouds will increase on Thursday with highs in the lower 30s. Could see a little snow Thursday night, lows in the upper 20s. That's the forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently 26 degrees.
And it is the noon hour on a Wednesday. It means it's time for Senior Talk, which is brought to you by the Solon American Legion and Senior Benefits. Here is your host, the one and only Rex Brandstatter.
It's only, thank gosh, everybody would say the only one for sure. Thank you, Tommy. What a beautiful day to be here on Senior Talk. It is bright. The sun's out, which kind of helps me in my thinking, even though it's cold outside. As long as the sun's out, I can do better. And by the way, if you don't value your hat or your hair or your wig, take a step outside. You'll see what that 30-mile-an-hour wind is like. It's really going. But the sun's out. We're working on it for. So it is what it is. Well, hello there, folks. Good afternoon, and welcome to Senior Talk. Happy to have you aboard today. A great day to be here with you, and a great day to be a senior for sure. Greetings to everyone tuning here today on Senior Talk. Hello to you, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I predict that this would be a perfect time to take a break, grab a sandwich and a nice cold root beer, and join in the fun here on Senior Talk. I'll do my very best to bring a myriad of topics and ideas every week that might cover important aspects of being or becoming a senior. Some might be important to you, your family, or friends. We shall find out every week, hopefully. And we'll have a little time for some history as well, for sure. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm a 76-year-old real estate broker who loves to meet, talk, and work with seniors. That's really who I prefer to work with. I also help lots and lots of people, of course, along the way, but I do work with a lot of seniors. And if I can be of any help, you might say, well, Rex, we're not moving. Why do we need to call a real estate broker? Well, I would shoot back to you and say, well, what's your house worth? You know, what the house down the street sell for? Do you have any idea what your neighborhood is doing? Is your neighborhood going, quote, up in value? Is your neighborhood staying static? Is your neighborhood losing ground? These are all things you should know because your real estate most likely is your largest investment. And you should know some facts and figures about your house and your neighborhood. So you can give me a call. I'm at the 319-330-5534. 330-5534, Rex's senior line. And least we can do is talk about it and maybe talk about your ideas and plans and thoughts and see what happens. And by the way, I meet with seniors all the time. Go to their homes, and they give me a tour. I did a tour yesterday of a home. Get a tour of their home, and I do my homework and send them what I think a price range in the event they decide to sell it within the next 6 months. The price would probably be valid type of thing. Some people say, well, Rex, we're not going to move for a couple of years, but what do you think our house might be worth if we sold it today or, within the next this season, we'll say. That gives you the information. You can help plan where your next move might be, whether you're going to get a smaller home because you don't need the biggest home you have, or you're going to rent, which a lot of seniors now do. The seniors are selling. There's no capital gains on the money with some rules. If you're married filing jointly, you're $500,000 in profit. Profit is tax-free. If you're a single person filing singly, there's the $250,000 profit from what you paid. That's tax-free. So a lot of people are renting, and the furnace breaks down, and instead of call the furnace man, you call the landlord. So that's going on. That is absolutely going on. So feel free to give me a call, 330-5534, and we'll see if I can help. Well, I remember some things. I was at a event the other day, and we were talking. A whole bunch of seniors were there, of course, and I was talking to someone, and I said, are you heading out somewhere this winter? And my wife's over there shaking her head because she knows we're not. She's in total disgust. And the lady said, well, yeah, we probably are. But she said, there's just so many things to do here in town, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I just don't have the energy. And she said, it's almost like it's too late to do something. Well, I quoted her on what my dad used to say. And he used to say that life is backwards. And I go, what? He said, life is backwards. When you're young, he said, you're just married, you're a young couple, and you want to go do some things. He said, you got to work yourself to death. You got to keep going. You don't have the money to do it, but you sure wish you could. He said, then you get older, maybe you retire, and now you've got the money and you don't have the energy. You don't really want to go. Maybe you don't have the health to go. So he said you need to change it. When you're young is when you should have all the money, and when you're older, you don't need as much money because you can't do anything with it. I thought that was pretty good. So life is backwards, and I told that lady that, and she agreed. The other thing we were talking about with some people the other day at a different event we were at, someone said to me about working with seniors or senior this or senior that. And I said, well, something with seniors that with my friends. Think about your own friends. And I would say this is 98% reality, is that we can trust each other. Seniors have been around the horn, so to speak. Have been around the barn here, a few times. So there's some things that impress us, some things that don't impress us. There's some things that we'd be interested in. There are lots of things we won't be interested in. There's some things that we would do and things we won't do because we have experience. And we've been there, done that, liked it, been there, done that, wouldn't do it again type of thing. And I kind of call that drawing some borders, circling your own wagon type of thing on where you stand on things. But all in all, I trust seniors. I enjoy working with seniors. I can take seniors for their word. For the most part, I don't distrust anybody. And I just think that most seniors are pretty honest people. I'm talking about here in Iowa. I don't know about anywhere else. Just the way we people out here were raised. Your folks would kick your butt if you weren't honest, if you didn't tell the truth, if you didn't do what you said you're going to do, type of thing like that. And it carries over into our adulthood for sure. So that's why I like working with seniors. So, and then I think about too, as a kid. Say I was in high school, and I obviously it was high school, and you kind of got in trouble. You did something stupid, and you tried to explain it to your dad. Well, it wasn't my fault. I did this or did that. Do you think your dad really believed you? Deep down inside, he's going, "Look, you little punk, I've been there, done that." In my dad's case, I've been there, done that. I was in the Army. I was in World War II for 4 years. There's nothing my brother and I could do to buffalo him. He'd been there and done that. And he'd outsmart us, and he'd had all these experiences in life, around the world, in life, and we've only been down to the river in Corville, So there's nothing we could do we could do a lot of things to upset him, but there's nothing we could do to talk our way out of it, knowing that if we didn't tell the truth, we were really, really going to be in trouble. So that's another thing with seniors, we can't, for the most part, can't be bamboozled. I'm not talking about scams. Scams are designed to bamboozle seniors, and we have a pretty good rate of people who are doing that. So I'm just saying, in general, seniors are hard to trick, hard to fool in deals here in your daily life. Well, keep it up, folks. Keep up your good work. We are actually marching through January. The meteorological term is bottom of winter in their books. Not that February or March are any cup of tea, but January is the worst. And today is bright and sunny, and the wind's blowing, and it's cold, so it's just the winter in Iowa. And if we're here, it's winter in Iowa. We're going to have to live with it. So be it. All right. Hoping you are busy working on whatever changes you decided to make in January. Now, a lot of seniors have been around the block. You don't make any decisions to make any changes, and I totally understand that. If you wanted to make a decision on this or that, a diet or quit this or start that, you could have done it in October. You don't have to wait for the calendar to tell you to do the thing. The things that I hear people talk about all the time, now they're going to do downsizing in their home and start walking more, which I recommend, walking or biking or swimming or reading. And there's really, really no time like now, folks. As you're going to hear at the end of the show, there's too little may come too late. We're going to talk about that a little bit today too. So get out there and do whatever it is you do. Get out, go do it. So I would also recommend this. Start to gather your 2025, which was last year, 2025 information for your income taxes, and I suggest you get started as soon as you can. And if I recall, tax returns have to be submitted electronically. Am I thinking correctly on that? I think you have to scan them and send them in, or if you have your tax guy or tax lady do it, they have to send them electronically. And I don't think they take much mail at our IRS office here at this area is Kansas City. I'm not sure of that. I'm pretty sure. How's that sound? I'm 90% sure of that. You have to submit it electronically, which will leave a lot of seniors out. Well, I just put mine in an envelope. I assume they still take them, but I'm not sure. Please, I know I read that somewhere. You might want to call your tax your tax rep for sure. If you're doing that, if you're gonna do it, even if you take all your things to tax guide, like right now, I'm producing files for my wife. She puts it all together, and then we take it to the tax guy. But make sure you read up on any new updates or deductions, because you need to take all the legal ones you can. If you want to take illegal stuff, that's your business. If they come and haul you away, too bad, pal. But take all the legal ones, and a lot of us don't know the legal ones anymore. So you could go on Google and just ask Google on your computer machine, your phone, what are some normal tax deductions for people for 2025. You might be surprised at some things you can deduct, and some of it is there's a deduction if you're a caretaker for your mom or for your dad or someone in the family, and you're writing checks for them and doing their bookwork and things like that. I don't know how much it is. It seems to me it was a $500 deduction or more for that. Okay, so pay attention to that, and because if you don't do it, they're not going to say, I was thinking, we're here at the IRS, we're thinking you could take more deductions. Well, they're not going to call you and do that. So take care of yourself for sure. I had a nice lady call and ask for an estimate on the amount of capital gains she would pay if she sold her house. Now, think back to what we just talked about. She had a nice lady call and ask for the estimate on the amount of capital gains she would pay if she sold her house. And I said, none. She said, well, what if I sold my house and I got the money? I said, well, there are none. And here is the rule. If you are married, filing jointly, Mr. and Mrs. Smith will say, or, legal partners will say, whatever. You bought a house for $200,000 and you sold it for $350,000. That's $150,000 in profit, no tax. If you're married, filing jointly, your first $500,000 in profit is tax-free, no taxes. Put the money in the bank. If you are single person filing, your first $250,000 in profit is tax-free. So we've got some leeway there. You can sell your house and put a whole bunch of money in your pocket. So a friend of mine calls me and says, I got an idea. See what you think of it. He said, we have a vacation house up in northern Wisconsin. I said, all right, good for you. And he said, what would happen if I sold our house in Iowa City and moved up there? I said, okay. He said, how much would the tax be on the house we sold? I said, $0. As long as you play within those, he's married, so I said the first $500,000. Well, we won't. We're going to make money, but not that much. Okay, nothing. He said, so now we get that money tax-free, and we move to Wisconsin up there in our house up there. What do we need to do up there? I said, you have to live there 2 years. The rule is you have to live there 2 out of the last 5 years. So you can go back in your own, Mr. and Mrs. Jones listening to Senior Talk today. In the last 5 years, if you have lived in your current location or a location, maybe you have a house in Mississippi and you've lived here in Iowa City for 3 years, but you lived there 2 years, which is within the last 5, you can sell that at no capital gain. So I said, all right, move to Wisconsin, live there 2 years. Sell it, no capital gains. Really? We'll make a bunch of money on that one. There you go. So that's what they're up to. And that is the way to, quote, beat the IRS. And guess what? The IRS knows all about it. So you just have to play by the rules. Sell your house here, put the money in the bank, move to your house in Wisconsin, Idaho, Colorado, wherever it is, live there 2 years, any 2 years in the next 5, any 2 years, live there for a year and move out. Rent it for 3 years, move back in for a year. Any combination like that works, as long as you prove. Now, how do you prove it? Well, you prove it by getting mail there. You prove it by selling your house in Iowa City with a deed. We sold our house on the 19th of July. Here's the deed we sold. All right. That shows that. And then you move to Wisconsin where you're going to put the water. I suggest you put the water bill in your name, the heat and lights in your name, get mail up there with your name on it from the Duck Club or the Better Homes and Gardens, the catalog, whatever you take up there. That shows you live there. Go down to your local courthouse up there and file for homestead or in this case, any Wisconsin residency rules. That's how you prove that, okay? That's how you would avoid taxes. Isn't this fun? We're avoiding taxes, okay? I want you to check out the new rules that took effect for next year. Because in 2026, there are some new rules that started for this year that we can use next year. And if you know what those rules are now, it might help you during 2026. on maybe there's going to be a more for standard deduction's going to go up. You're going to be able to deduct interest on car loans again. All kinds of things are going to change for the good. And if you know what some of those rules are, maybe that will help you. And when you go do your taxes, you could ask your tax guy, your tax lady, what's cooking? What just started in 2026 that I can use for 2027? It might involve office furniture. It might involve all kinds of things. There's lots of things going on that they just passed that kick in January 1st for next time. All right. Now I've got you in the mode of saving some taxes. Here's the big one for you. Lean forward, folks, and turn up your radio. If you are 65 and older and own a residence and you live in that residence, you own a house. All right, pretty simple stuff. You need to call. I suggest you call. I recommend you call the Johnson County Assessor, or if you live in the city limits of Iowa City, the Iowa City Assessor, and sign up for senior credit off of your assessment. Say what? Well, the Iowa legislature passed a year ago. That went into effect a year ago, by the way. If you missed a year, you dumb heads, you missed a year. Because now you're going to get an additional $6,500 off your assessment. If you've signed up for homestead exemption, you're already going to get $4,850 off your assessment because of homestead, because you're living there. So there's $4,850 off that. If you are a veteran, and you have a DD 214, you could take down to the courthouse, take to the assessor. They'll do that. They just changed that as well. It was $1,862 off your assessment. Okay, so now I'm saving you about $7,000, about almost $8,000 in assessments so far, which extrapolates over to your taxes, depending on what school district you live in and what community, what governing body where you live. Could be county. Could be Coralville, Iowa City, Oxford, state limits, but you just never know. Now you're cooking, folks, and so I want you to call the Johnson County Assessor. If you live in anywhere in Johnson County except Iowa City, you need to call the Johnson County Assessor, and they are at 356-6078, 356-6078. You could ask them to give them your name and give them your street address, and they will look it up. They will check to see if you're signed up for homestead exemption. They'll look up and see if you're signed up for senior exemption, 65 and older. You may have to prove it to them. Go down and show them your driver's license. They'll ask you. And if you're a veteran, you may want to sure you have a DD 214. All veterans know what a DD 214 is. All veterans. Take that down there, and they'll sign you up for that. So I just saved you a whole bunch of money off of your assessment. I don't know about taxes. Didn't say that. But if you have assessment, the less you're assessed, the less taxes you most likely will pay. That's what you could do. That's what you could do. By the way, if you're a veteran, thank you for your service, for sure. You need to take care of yourself. Now, $1,852 is not enough for a veteran to take off their assessment. That's a joke. That saves you $40 to $50 a year in taxes. Well, right, okay, that's $40 or $50 in your pocket, not the supervisor. But for your efforts and for your the time you spent away from family, time you spent away from possible career, that's chicken feed, and I'm all for it. I was thinking that they changed that. I apologize. I don't remember if they did or not. But I know the senior one, the $6,500 is valid. And I know, of course, the homestead. So get busy. They're not going to call you. You need to call them. And if you don't sign up and you forget for 5 years, that's 5 years worth of money every year that is in their pocket, not yours. And this is all legal, folks, all legal. Well, here's a big alert for you, 100% alert for sure. I was at an intersection, and a car went past me. All right, sitting there, and the car went around the corner and went by me. And the young lady was talking on her phone, had her phone in her hand. Well, as you know, on January 1, it is no longer legal in Iowa to talk on the phone while you're driving your car. Can't do it. Cannot be a handheld phone. You got to talk into the dashboard or whatever else you got going. Have your phone on a stock thing and talk while it's there. Okay, you can't have it in your hand. Well, Rex, that's they can only stop you as a secondary thing. No, they can now stop you just for that. Just for that. They see you talk on the phone. Well, guess what? There was a policeman right behind her, and he saw her do it too, and he pulled her over. And guess what? I think the ticket for that, if I'm not mistaken, the ticket is $175. So they're not playing games with that because of the ramifications of driving down the street talking on your phone have proven to be not good. So there's a big fine on this. So what if you get that? You get one of those. If they add them up, I think if you get more than 3, well, then they're going to kick your fanny with your driver's permit or driver's license, stuff like that. So be careful, okay? I was at a bank the other day, and I noticed they had a sheet there on the table, like they always do, for CD rates. And the top CD rate I saw was 4%. And I don't recall the rules, meaning I don't recall if it was a 6-month or a 90-day or 11-month, all different programs. Each bank has something different. But I'm hoping that you keep track of, if you have CDs, if that's part of your investment, that you keep track of not only the rates but the times, and sort of plot out your strategy. Sort of plot out your strategy if you have CDs. Do I put it in there knowing I can't get to it for 6 months or 3 months? 3 months is going to be a higher rate than 12 months. 12 months will be lower because they don't know what the rates are going to be, and they don't want to tie up the money. They want to be able to short it. So shorter term is going to get you more money, all right? Absolutely true story. So I just was standing there reading that, and it makes me think that I bought a couple of CDs, gee whiz, maybe 6 months ago, and it was a full 1.5% higher than that. So even that didn't keep up with inflation, but that's what I did. So it worked for me at the time. So what I'm trying to get to, I want you to be alert and on top of things on what your money could be doing. Okay? You get the things in the mail from your IRAs all the time. You look at them and go, wow, that one did pretty good. This one didn't do worth a hoot, or this one backed off. You should call your investment guy and ask why. Maybe you should transfer one over. I'm not saying you should. I'm not an investment guy. But I'm just saying you should pay attention. You worked hard and long to earn that money. And now you need to sit back and take care of your money and manage your money. Get someone to help you manage your money. It's not rocket science. It can be rocket science, but for the average guy in Iowa City, Iowa, or Johnson County, just paying attention to it, you'll make yourself a lot more money. And you'll know more about yourself. You'll know more about your spending plans. You know about your savings ideas, too. It's a really, really good thing to do. Well, I spoke with a cousin of mine, and she is a nurse at the new University of Iowa Hospital out on Forever Green Road in North Liberty. The brand new one, the biggie out there. And she's an OR nurse. So she said, I'm working my fanny off, is what she said. She said the place is full every day. Every doctor is busy, busy, busy. Every staff member is busy. We all have jobs, and we're doing them. It's just there's no let up. We are busting at the seams, and now they're finishing the rooms off that were vacant for future remodeling. They're doing them now. Excuse me. I just read that the Board of Regents had a meeting, and the university proposed it was $45 to $55 million in not. I'm not going to call them renovations because they're not renovating anything, but it's build out. Continue with the build out there. What was vacant, they might do in 5 to 6 to 8 years. Something like that. They have to do them now, which is a good thing. If your business is so good, you have to add on, build on. Now, that's a good thing. So that's what they're doing. She just rolled her eyes. I said, are you busy? And she said, oh, my God, we are really, really, really. Now, her husband is in the engineering department. And the engineering department, he said, after there's a surgery, his guys have to go in, and after all the docs and everybody's gone, they have to go back in and clean it all up. I said, you ought to see our work orders today, the time schedules. He said, it's absolutely amazing. Our time schedules when this surgery, is supposed to be over, normal circumstances. It's supposed to be over this one. We got to get in there. We've got 30 minutes between or less. Get in there and make it sterile again, blah, blah, blah. So he said, we're going to it too. So in that new hospital, he said, it is a real, real work environment. Excuse me. And he said, guess what? He said the staff and the faculty, I'm going to call them faculty, doctors and the regular staff out there love it because everybody's working and nobody's standing around complaining to their face. Anyhow, they're working. More power to them. Isn't that a good report to hear? Wow. Are you aware that a lot of people spend more time planning a vacation than they do talking to each other about planning their retirement? Well, Rex, we're going to go to Chicago this weekend, then we're going to fly to Houston, then we're going to go out to Las Vegas. blah, blah, blah. We'll be gone for 3 weeks. We've been on this to get it all set up we've been planning this for a year. No, I don't doubt it. Good for you. Happy trip, and hope you have a lot of fun. Then you would say, well, did you spend any time talking about your retirement? Well, when I'm 65, closer we get to 65, well, I think, just Rex thing, I think that's wrong. I don't care how much you spend on your vacation planning and doing more power to you. But I think wait until you're 65 to plan your retirement. And it's all conjecture when you're less than 65 or 70 or 55, whenever you're doing. And it's all built around planning and talking about lifestyle, where you might live, what you might want to do, what you don't want to do, all things like that. What would you do if you had a different job? What would you don't want to do? Just some ideas to sit down and banter about. Just some ideas. And I also suggest you start a retirement idea book. Just get yourself a retirement idea book and a 3-ring binder, and have a section of called retirement ideas. Retire from my current job, and I'm thinking about working in a retail situation, thinking about becoming a guide at a national park, anything like that. You write them down and just kind of later on bounce them off yourself again to see if that makes any sense to you. Your 2-week vacation lasts 2 weeks. Your retirement can last 30 years. So I think it's very, very important you spend a lot of time on it, and I know that a lot of you aren't, because I've talked to a lot of people. And go, I don't know. Well, we'll worry about that when the times come. And I understand that. But the reason you're going to do that is because you're busy working, you're busy with the family, you're busy watching soccer game with the grandkids and get all that. But when is the time to talk and plan for yourself? When is that time? Have you taken time to think about yourself? Think about you and your wife's plans, you and your husband's plan, you and your others' plans at all. We'd like to maybe move. I'd like to move to Kansas. My wife would say, "You're a moron. I'm never going to go with you." Rex doesn't want to move to Kansas, but I'm just saying we'd like to move to Florida. Well, Rex doesn't want to move to Florida. My wife doesn't, but we could at least talk about that. Okay. My wife says, I think we should move to Arizona, and I say, well, I don't want to go down there, and we should talk about that. I say, well, I think I'd like to work part-time, and my wife says, no, I want you to work full-time for another couple of years, blah, 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 or vice versa. You need to talk about those things. I can tell you, point blank, that I know women who have retired and their husbands keep working, and they love it because they're, and for the ones I'm going to tell you about, are kind of like home alone and mind their own business. They get what they call get things done, whatever that is. I don't know. And now old Fred's going to retire. Marge doesn't want him around every day. She's got her own thing going. Excuse me, this happens all the time. Totally. They're invading Marge's space all of a sudden. Well, so be it. So get busy. I'm going to tell you, I'm a fresh fruit guy for breakfast. I am a fresh fruit guy. And finding fresh fruit has been a challenge in the last 60 days or so. So if you think that through, it's the end of the growing season, so they have to extend, like I.V. and these stores have to extend the buying because fruit from down south and South America and things like that, because we don't have it in the United States all the time. Well, I'm going to tell you that the oranges right now are coming back. The oranges are really good. They've been pretty crappy for the last month and a half. They really, really have. So if you like fresh fruit, now's a good time to go, and it will be for a long time because now the seasons are coming around. They're probably planting things, getting close to planting things, and maybe the oranges are maturing in California, in Texas, and Arizona, and Florida, blah, blah, blah. So I like fresh fruit, a good fresh fruit season. I also like frozen fruit in the bag. They're flash frozen, and they're good as well. All right. Apples have been really good. I like to eat apples, so that's the story. And now I see more fruit is available, and I think bring it on. So if you're a fruit guy, fruit lady, go to it. Get cooking. I had an interesting call from a lady not long ago, senior lady, and she said, I see the name Kirkwood all around. She said, I'm not really from here, except for the last few years. And she said, I see the name Kirkwood everywhere, including a street and a school and rooms in buildings I was in the other day, a community college more. What's the background? Who is Kirkwood? What's the background? So, folks, the background is this. He came here, this is Samuel Kirkwood. He came here at the request of his brother-in-law. Now, Sam Kirkwood was an attorney in Ohio. And he came here at the request of his brother-in-law. His brother-in-law was already here, and his brother-in-law was a guy named Ezekiel Clark. and Ezekiel Clark was from Ohio. And Ezekiel Clark and Samuel Kirkwood, in the end, were both appointed and chosen and approved by the governor, Robert Lucas, Lucas Street, by the way. Robert Lucas, who was the appointed governor of the territory of Iowa. Because remember now, our territory of Iowa didn't become a state until 1846, I think. 46, 48, 46. So they came out here. Ezekiel Clark got here in the late 1830s, and Sam Kirkwood got here a little after that. But Iowa was just a state, so they were both appointed and approved by Governor Lucas, who lives over whose house is that Plum Grove over there off Kirkwood Avenue, as a matter of fact. So now Ezekiel Clark was brought out here by the Iowa City Manufacturing Company, which included John Ronald Street. Let's see who else was on that. Chauncey Swan. Chauncey Swan was here. Chauncey Swan was one of the guys appointed by Governor Lucas to help find the location of what is now we call the old Capitol. Pretty bedrock guys out here. And so Ezekiel Clark worked for the Iowa City Manufacturing Company because they opened up the overhead dam in Corville to open a grist mill, and that opened up in about 1842, 1843. They built that dam, which is still out there today. It's been remodeled and updated, but that's where they did. And they ran a grist mill out there. And Ezekiel Clark had bigger fish to fry after a couple of years, so he brought out his brother-in-law, Sam Kirkwood, the famous name for Kirkwood Avenue, Kirkwood Community College, rooms in hotels and things like that. Brought him out here to run it. So Samuel Kirkwood ran it there, and they both had lived in a house up above. Let's see, what's out there? There's a Casey's on that corner, Burger King in Corville, across the street in the river. They lived up on a house up on top of the hill. It was first Sam Kirkwood's house, first Ezekiel Clark's house, and then it was Sam Kirkwood's house, but it burned down. And when things burned down back then, caught fire, they just burned down. They get out of the way. St. James Hotel in Iowa City burned down, which is the location where Iowa Book and Supply is now. It burned down, caused tragedy on that whole block. But there's nothing they could do because there were no fire departments. You just get the heck out of the way and hope you don't go up in the smoke with it. So he came out here. Sam Kirkwood came out here. He's 6'1" or so. He's a big man, a very friendly guy, and he knew that business. He knew how to own and operate a grist mill and work with people. He was so friendly and had true leadership qualities and capabilities that his friends urged him to run for the Iowa Senate. Urged him to run for Iowa Senate. Where was the capital of Iowa at that time in the 1850s? Iowa City. So he rode his horse from Corville to the old capital, to what was the capital. And he did a great job, and he was elected later on. He was elected the governor of Iowa. Here he is from Corville running the grist mill. He elected governor of Iowa, and he was a governor in 1861. He was governor of Iowa during the Civil War. Yeah, Samuel Kirkwood. He was a true friend of the Iowa soldiers in the Civil War. He even paid them when state of Iowa, could not make payroll. Samuel Kirkwood paid them from his profits and income from the grist mill and the dam out in Corville. It's a true story, folks. He's Iowa's Civil War governor. He was later elected to the United States Senate on 2 different occasions, not concurrent, not back to back. And then he became the Secretary of the Interior under President Garfield. This is all Samuel Kirkwood, from right here running that little grist mill down at the dam in Corville. Yeah. His house still stands on Wyoming Road. I mean Kirkwood Avenue. It was Wyoming Road at the time. 1101 Kirkwood. Go take a look at it. 1101 Kirkwood Avenue, Iowa City. South side, right near the corner with Summit Street. Summit and Kirkwood. And Sam Kirkwood is buried in Oakland Cemetery. His headstone is like a giant bowling ball. Great big thing, about 3 feet tall. Great big thing. And he's buried about 150 feet from his brother-in-law, Ezekiel Clark, and neither one of them know it. Isn't that something? By the way, Ezekiel Clark was busy with the dam and busy doing things here in town. And the Mormons came here. The Mormons got here by train, most of them. And they left from Corville. They had their encampment down by south from Hills Bank on the Corville Strip, right straight south and across the railroad tracks. Now, they were the railroad tracks then after 1855. That's where the Mormons, they dropped those coming to Zion, to seek Zion, I guess they call it. They met out in the field down along Clear Creek, right down in there, South Hills Bank. And they started there in 1856 and 57 and 58. They started their Mormon handcart trek right there. Exactly right. So that's what was going on at that time. Well, guess what? Ezekiel Clark lived in that house up above Burger King, and his wife Mary ran away with the Mormons. So if your wife runs away with, I don't mean to correlate that with the circus, but we'll just call it runs away, joins a carnival, or joins a traveling troupe, we'll call it. Be nice. I'm trying to be nice here. Runs away with the Mormons. They tried to get her back, and she said, nope, I'm going with them. And by that time, the Mormons got the shackles up on them, said, no, she decided to go with us. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So Ezekiel Clark, I don't know if he got remarried or not. I believe he did. It was quite a story. Not known for a long time because nobody said anything, but that's exactly what happened. And Ezekiel Clark is also buried out there. If you go up to Oakland Cemetery, if you want to nose around up there, you know where the caretaker's brick building is there. It's just if you park close to there or wherever you can, it's just north of there a little ways. The guys are there during the week. They'll tell you where it is. They'll point it right out to you. It's interesting. All right. Well, I can tell you this. One of the predictions for 2026 is slow car sales. Slow car sales. But if you notice, I don't know what the car sales have been, but they said this could work into the playbook of the consumer, because when car sales are slow, they drop prices, and or the manufacturers come out with all kinds of financing time. No money down, no interest for 6 months and things, 6 years, or life of the blah, blah, blah. So it's be a good time maybe to look into buying a new car, for sure. And then one thing before we go, have you made the commitment to get your arrangements in order? And I mean arrangements, folks. Have you decided to clean out the garage? Now, it's too cold to do that. Clean out the basement. Have you made any of these commitments? Because you should be doing that. You should highly consider doing it. I don't care what you do. It's your business. You should consider all of these things, for sure. Have you garnered all your important papers and put them in a reasonable place in your home? Maybe fireproof file. Have you done any of that kind of stuff? Kind of get yourself organized. I call it senior organization. Get organized with your stuff, with your finances, all those things. You need to make some commitments, and I'm here to tell you it's a good thing, because once you do it, you're going to forever thank yourself. You don't have to thank me. Forever thank yourself for getting organized. All right. Well, the greatest secret in life is this. We never know how long we're going to be here. We just don't. And by here, I mean here with good health and the abilities to live in a preferred lifestyle that you choose, and not one that's based on a stroke or a new disability or an accident, dementia, and things like that. So we never know how long we're going to be here. We just don't. Knowing this, I suggest each of you do all you can while you can. Do all you can while you can, and walking, reading, swimming, running, crossword puzzles, whatever you enjoy, because remember this, here's the bottom line. Too late may come too soon. Bob had a stroke. He can't walk like he used to. He was just getting ready to start swimming routine. Now he can't. All right. Too late may come too soon. So thank you so much for listening. I'm glad you took time out of that. I have a senior line for you to call, 319-330-5534. Or my email, I'm rex@rexrb.com, rex@rexrb.com. And I'm not going to call you back unless you call me. I'm not going to bombard you with any kind of email, except you ask me a question, I'll shoot you back. rex@rexrb.com. So my salute to all veterans. Thank all of you for listening in. Thanks for serving. Stay safe. Go Hawks. And by the way, the Heartlanders play Kalamazoo tonight, not Toledo. Just an update.
Did I say Toledo?
Yes, you did, my friend. So
I feel like Toledo's in there somewhere.
They are. They're the Friday and Saturday night. It's a hockey update here.
I don't know. I've got the schedule right here. Let me get everything correct. Let's see. Tonight's Kalamazoo, then Toledo this weekend.
There you go. Well, when you're a senior someday, Tommy, you'll know how.
I think I'm a senior now.
There you go. There you go. He's made it. Tommy's crossed the line. All right, folks. This is Rex from Senior Talk saying, enjoy the day. Thanks for listening. So long.
Looking for a place